Hey, everybody, welcome back to Breakfast All Day. Christy and Alonso. We are going to dig into the week just past. Our dear friend Matt is still on sabbatical, but sends his regards. But lots of stuff happening this week, obviously, from the tragic to the ridiculous.
Let's begin with the tragic. We'll end on a high note. The LA Times had a big Sunday takeout. Multiple reporters, giant story. They went out to New Mexico including Amy Kaufman and Meg James. They went out to New Mexico to talk to crew members, to get like a minute by minute. I hate the phrase TikTok. It's such like an inside journalism phrase, but that's what it was of what happened on the set of Rust.
Also, that phrase means something else now. So, you know. Oh,
that's true. Yeah. But it's such a like inside baseball kind of jargon. Yes. Like, let's get the TikTok. The WAPO has a TikTok. But sort of looking at what happened that day on the set and how it is possible that gun got into Alec Baldwin's hands and how, he ended up shooting Helena Hutchins and Joel Souza. And it's really fascinating to see the stories of how much turmoil existed on this set. Yeah. Prior to that morning, there's also a story, I can't recall whether we discussed this last week, but like a guy who had the production had reached out to be the armorer, and he saw so many red flags about them like just skimping on budget and person power that he's like, this is going to be a disaster and I want no part of it. So,
I mean, I think what we're looking at, and this is a labor issue that is universal, whether it's the meat packing people being forced to like work in close quarters during a pandemic, whether it is people working in unsafe conditions or around, like toxic chemicals, whether it's people who are being forced to work staggered shifts where they aren't able to get a full night of sleep and they're having to drive when they're, like groggy. I mean, this is encapsulating an issue that's not just impacting, the entertainment industry and safety issues there, but I think in general, workplace hazards aren't being taken seriously enough because, somebody might have to spend some money on it. And if, that means some workers get injured or killed, that apparently still works into the bottom line for people.
Yeah. But it seems like there is such an outrage over this particular example that maybe actual real change might occur. And so the movie Red Notice had its red carpet premiere this week. And Dwayne Johnson was asked on the red carpet about the shooting. And he pledged there, right then and there, that like he will stop using real guns in any production that his company is involved with. And so I think with somebody of that stature who has really made their name with action movies, I mean, yeah, a lot of his movies are like family-friendly Disney kid stuff, but really like the big dumb action movies that made him a superstar globally, when someone like that puts that flag in the sand and says like, I'm not going to do this anymore, it would seem to hopefully, I'm really hoping, open the door for others to do that too.
I hope. I mean, like, did Franny McDormand's Oscar speech lead to everybody having an equity rider or whatever the thing was?
Inclusion rider?
Inclusion rider, yeah. So I mean, like, I like the idea of people taking a stand on this stuff. I just wonder, like, do we forget about it when the next thing happens, or does it just sort of get swept under the rug? I hope that people keep the outrage alive and the importance of this and as a thing moving forward to really look at for set safety and not have it be a line item that gets to be sort of quibbled with.
Yeah. So we will continue to follow that. But if you haven't read that story, it's very long and it's heartbreaking and very detailed. It was in the Sunday LA Times, I believe. Some casting news, some exciting casting news. So there's going to be a movie version of Wicked, which I guess has been in the works for a while with Jon M. being your director. They've announced who is going to star in it, and that is Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande as Elphaba and Galinda, respectively. And it's kind of a bit of an exciting casting choice because no Black actress has ever played Elphaba. This is, of course,
on stage, never really.
I don't think so. I think I read that somewhere that these are the roles that made Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth superstars beyond Broadway. Certainly, they were well known within their realm. Idina Menzel was in
Rent
the original
and-
Rent cast. Yeah, but this made them known. And I guess a Wicked movie has been in the works for a while. Certainly Jon M. would seem to be a great person
Yeah.
to direct that, you know, In the Heights and
Gem and the Holograms.
Gem and the Holograms, you know, the much maligned and misunderstood in its time, Gem and the Holograms. And what, multiple Step Up movies, correct?
Yes, I want to say like the good ones.
And Crazy Rich Asians.
Yes.
So
Which where are those sequels, by the way?
Were there supposed to be sequels to Crazy Rich Asians?
There's like 3 novels, and this was supposed to be like. Remember Harry Shum Jr. shows up in the last 5 minutes, and it's like, oh, you're going to be in the sequel. Where's that sequel? That movie was a huge hit.
That's a good question. Yeah, that was a big hit internationally.
Yeah.
So very strange. Speaking of selling tickets, the folks at AMC Theaters have not been selling as many. Understandably, no theater chain has been. So they are pivoting to popcorn. They are now in the business of selling popcorn. They're going to open 15 retail stores by the end of 2022 to just sell movie popcorn.
That just seems nuts. I mean, like, I'm assuming like, you know, if you're doing like schmancy popcorn, that's the thing. You have a website, you do a mail order, like, you know, like if you're Gabbert's in Chicago, you have like however many locations and then you ship it everywhere. But I mean, when we think of AMC, do we think, oh man, I love their popcorn? I mean, to me, it felt like kind of a crapshoot. Sometimes it was good, sometimes not. And I don't know, it just seems like more brick and mortar. This is like, y'all are still moving in the wrong direction for the 21st century, but who knows?
I wonder who is advising him on this. Yeah, because I cannot, from a palate perspective, differentiate between AMC popcorn and popcorn from my neighborhood theater. Like, is it that much better? I don't know.
Yeah, I never think of that as being like, oh, their trademark thing. Oh, yes, we go to AMC, you know, the movie, whatever. We're there for the popcorn. Like, I mean, it's fine. It's just not special. So I don't know.
You can get a big ass thing of popcorn at Costco. Or you can get like the Popcornopolis with like the chocolate drizzle.
Yeah,
you can get it at any grocery store.
Those flavors. Yeah. I mean, like maybe if it's that thing where they set up in like malls or whatever, where maybe you're too young for this, but do you remember like when you used to go to like Kmart or Woolworths or a place like that, there would always be the popcorn area because you would smell it everywhere in the store and be like, oh, I need some popcorn. You get like popcorn and an icy like that. This was all the rage back in like the 70s. But
that's lunch.
So maybe they're just out to like make people smell it and that'll draw them in. But this seems a little nutty to me. But whatever.
Yikes. Kal Penn has come out.
Yay, Kal Penn. Yeah, apparently he's been out in his life for ages. And I posted about this on my Facebook and some people were like, well, why was he keeping it a secret? And I'm like, I bet you nobody asked. You know, there are movie stars whose personal lives the paparazzi get obsessed with. And then there are like, you know, people like Kal Penn who are like, you know, we like him in the Harold and Kumar movies. Oh yeah, he worked in the Obama White House. But like People magazine is not beating down his door to find out like who is Kal Penn dating, you know? So I think there's a way for like out actors to like never have to answer the question. I personally know some, in fact, and it's like, and it's not that they're keeping it a secret, it's that literally nobody ever asked, you know? And so it's like, anyway, now he's written a memoir and he's talking about it publicly. Good for him.
He's been with his partner for 11 years and they're planning on getting married. I wonder too, though, if because he spent so much time away from Hollywood and in politics, like living a more low key life in the Obama White House, if that is perhaps why, you know, people never asked, because
sure, yeah.
You work in the Obama White House and you're gay. Who cares, right?
Exactly. You're not in the white hot spotlight of like, oh, I'm in the next Fast and Furious movie or something. You'd be amazed at like how many people work in the industry that we don't know or care or ever ask about who they're dating or who they're married to or whatever. And it's like, unless you're a super fan and really dig into that stuff, it just, you know, you can kind of travel under the radar, which I think he has managed to do. But I'm glad that he's very nonchalant about it now. And you know, part of me, you know, I haven't worked at the Advocate in like 15 years, but part of me is like, oh, good, another gay celebrity to put on the cover. You know, when I worked there were very few of them.
So some people do care if you're gay or not, and they're in the Middle East. So apparently Eternals, which we will talk about on Monday. Nick and I have a Marvel Monday episode of Eternals. Cool. Alonso, I'm sure at some point in your life you will see Eternals. I'm curious to hear your thoughts about it.
Yeah, no, I really want to.
Yeah, so Eternals has a gay character, of like first
A couple,
gay
right?
superhero, and they are a couple, and they have a son, and they are happy suburban dads, and it's all very normal and low key. But this is shocking, of course, in the Middle East, and so Saudi Arabia, Qatar,
UAE, I think.
yeah, they're not going to show Eternals in their theaters, and apparently, Disney was under a lot of pressure to alter the content to suit them, and they said no. So
there are some countries, I think, who are making them cut out the gay stuff and the gay sex scenes and the straight sex scenes. I guess there are both in this movie, but that's apparently standard for them. I think for a lot of more sort of religiously minded countries, that's just a standard censor that happens. But yeah, we talk about this all the time when we talk about how like Disney and a lot of studios are reticent about being more inclusive in these sort of big franchise movies that have to travel around the world, because there are countries that will ban them. Like there's a laundry list of countries that, like, where Brokeback Mountain was never released, for instance. But obviously that's a smaller scale indie movie. We're talking about big superhero franchise stuff. But good on Disney and Chloe Zhao for sticking to their guns, because it would be very easy, certainly in previous Disney things where they kind of patted themselves on the back for being inclusionary, like the lesbian cop in the animated film Onward. Was that Pixar or not? I can't even remember now.
No, that was Disney.
Okay. Anyway, the lesbian cop in Onward got dubbed in other countries in a way that she was no longer a lesbian cop, because it was only one line, and I'm sure like the gay character in Jungle Cruise probably gets dubbed or chopped in certain ways in other countries to like get rid of him. But this sounds like these guys are essential to the plot, and it's like they have enough screen real estate that you can't just blur them out. You actually have to, you're either in or you're out, and some countries are out, and they're like, fine, we can afford to not open in Qatar and wherever else, but we're not gonna mess up our movie.
Yeah, it's clear, and there's not really any cutting around it, because once they come back to Brian Tyree Henry's character in the present day, he's living in a home with a husband with their son, and they kiss. Like there's not a gay sex scene. There's a kiss.
Well, sure.
There's a straight sex scene.
Okay.
Which is kind of chaste, but like you actually see people doing it, which is totally unheard of in a Marvel movie.
Right. Well, somebody pointed out there's one in Iron Man, like where like Robert Downey hooks up with a secretary or something.
It's implied. No, it's implied that he has a one-night stand with one of the reporters who is flirting with him. As we do, we sleep with our sources because we have no scruples. We journalists have no sources otherwise. So there's that. And like clearly he and Pepper Potts have done it, right? And clearly Hawkeye's done it because he has 3 kids.
Right. But
you don't see it.
I forgot you've seen all the whole array more recently than I have, so But yeah, Marvel movies are not known for their like throbbing sexuality. So the fact that there's anything in this movie is definitely like a bit of a paradigm shift. It's
a big deal. So anyway, so we're gonna have a Marvel Monday on Monday about that. And Nick and I did, but Angelina Jolie is calling out these countries. Angelina Jolie, one of the stars of Eternals, is calling them out for their ignorance.
Yeah. Good on her. I'm finally going to get to see Shang-Chi next Friday because it drops on Disney Plus Day or whatever that thing is they're doing.
Disney Plus Day is November 12th. Yeah, well, I'll be curious. We'll have to talk about that next week during news. You'll have to fill me in on your thoughts on Shang-Chi.
Yes, if I have time to watch that and Home Sweet Home Alone, which I'm hoping we can maybe get to next week. Maybe.
Next week is very busy.
It is. I know. Well, we'll see what happens.
I know you want to get your Christmas movies in. We got to get to that story. Okay, let's talk about Mariah Carey. All right, so this is a Dallas story, and it's a Christmas story. This is crucial. There's a bar in Dallas. Have you ever been to Stoneleigh P?
Yes. Okay. That's where that was. Oh, funny.
Yes. Yeah, I have been across from the Stoneleigh Hotel in like Cedar Springs. Yes. Kind of fancy shopping area of Dallas, kind of next to the gay neighborhood in Dallas.
Say Cedar Springs is the gayborhood. Yeah.
I thought Oaklawn is the gay neighborhood.
I mean,
they're next to each other.
Yeah, they're adjacent. Sure.
Anyway. Okay. It's all there. And so Stoneleigh P has this sign on their jukebox saying that you cannot play Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You, prior to December 1st. And even then, after December 1st, you can only play it one time per day. And like they will unplug the jukebox and they will kick you out if you try and perpetrate it earlier than that. Apparently, this is a joke, like an inside joke at this bar. And that sign's been there for a few years now. But someone took a picture of it and it went viral. And so that's why.
Look, I get it. I know that I'm a lunatic. I know that, but I'm not the only one though, because like if SiriusXM has their holiday traditions channel up all year, it can't be just for me, as much as I would love to think so. Other lunatics are out there listening to this stuff. Also, however, if November, you're one of those people like, it's too early, like, okay, fine, I get it. But, look, as for me, like this is my season, where we got the SiriusXM, all the channels are up, like all 17 of their holiday channels. Starbucks is doing the peppermint mocha and, the sugar cookie latte and whatever else I got going on. But I understand we have to sort of be understanding of each other's stuff, and jukeboxes are very public and very much shared experiences. So I think it's totally fine for them to have, some guidelines in place regarding All I Want for Christmas Is You and holiday music in general.
Boundaries. Yes. I guess drunk people would play it over and over. And it got so annoying that they're like, enough. We've got to lay down some rules here.
Yeah,
but
you don't put that sign up if somebody didn't do it,
Mariah got her revenge though. She like posted a video of herself in full on Santa garb, like beating up pumpkins.
Yes. Every year she does a It's Time video. And this year's was great because there was it was 3 jack-o'-lanterns that had carved into them. It's not time. And then she came out with a baseball bat that was striped like a candy cane and whomped the one that said not. Oh, no. She's like, it's time. Of course, got a red outfit on, and she's doing another Christmas special for Apple TV Plus this year, which I'm very excited about.
How is there more content for her? Didn't she like do it all last year?
Oh, she finds ways. Did you watch her special last year? It was actually really fun.
Did I?
I'll tell you, here's the thing. A lot of people have tried to sort of revive the variety special, and they usually do it with such a sort of like wink at, wasn't this corny? Weren't these ridiculous? That they don't really work. They're not fun because you're sort of watching somebody mock the genre they're participating in, but she just does it. And she just owns it. And she's like, yes, we're going to do this. And it was even very like, yes, it's 2020 and everything's a shit show, but we're going to have a Christmas special. And that was sort of the underlying theme of it. And it was still a lot of fun.
Did we review it? I have some memory. We might have talked about it. Anyway,
I don't know. We might have discussed it.
It's a blur. Also in Dallas news.
Yes.
Hundreds of QAnon followers gathered on the grassy knoll in Dealey Plaza, because they thought that this was going to be the triumphant return of JFK Jr. and that he would take his rightful place as Trump's running mate. And this is the long game here. It's going to be a Trump JFK Jr. ballot in 2024. And then once they get elected, Trump steps down, JFK Jr. becomes president, and Michael Flynn becomes VP. Now, never mind that he's dead and has been for decades. Right.
Marley was dead. This much was certain.
It's very strange. My question for you is this. Okay, let's just hypothetically say maybe he's not dead. All right. Let's just say he's not. He survived the plane crash and he's just been hiding all this time.
I mean, they did find a body, but sure. Okay, fine.
Maybe it's not his. Maybe it's some other handsome, thick-haired gentleman. Why, of all the places in all the world, would he choose the exact spot where his father was assassinated to make your triumphant return?
Exactly. I mean, it was there or the Bonaventure Hotel. Like these were the choices. Like, this is it. It's
not the Bonaventure. It's not the Bonaventure.
Oh, where
was RFK shot? It was on Wilshire. What was it called? The Ambassador. The Ambassador Hotel.
Sorry. Yeah, I do not get it with the Q folks. I mean, like, and of course, the beauty of these completely outlandish conspiracies is I'm sure now that day has passed and he, surprised, did not show up at the grassy knoll. They've already moved on to the next goalpost. So oh, well, no, see, actually, it's really a setup for in February when he turns up at the, at the Parthenon in Nashville or something. Like it is a never ending series of like loony predictions and here's what the real plan is, and we got to stick to the plan, and they give me a headache.
And the theory is that he didn't show up because it wasn't safe.
Of course. Well,
that's a theory.
It wasn't safe because there were a bunch of Q people there.
So that was crazy. But also a good thing that happened this week. We'll get to good news too. That it was Halloween. We talked a little bit last week about how's Halloween going to go down. In my neighborhood, it was like normal times and it was a free for all. And some people had like on their driveway or like their front doorstep, like they set up a table so that nobody had to actually knock on the door. But there was the kids milling about. You would just never know. Full-size candy bars.
Ooh, fancy.
Full-size Hershey's and Butterfingers.
Did you stand like 6 feet inside the house with a slingshot and just?
Now, I have a really good friend in Dallas, actually, who created like a chute, like a big, long, like candy cane colored chute.
Yeah.
And she listens to the show. Hi, Kelly. And she like would shoot it down from her front porch down to the people on the sidewalk.
Smart.
You would never know. It was down here. It was very, very normal. But Steve Buscemi also handed out candy from his home in Brooklyn, and he dressed as his own meme from 30 Rock, his "How do you do, fellow kids" meme.
I think we can safely say Steve Buscemi won Halloween this year.
Yes, I think we should just never do Halloween again.
Yeah,
that's the end.
It's done. Stick a fork in it.
That is the end of it. I've also got a lot. Oh, I didn't mention in our gay section, I forgot to mention Kristen Stewart is marrying her girlfriend.
Yes. Mazel tov.
Yes. And we have Katie Walsh and I will have a review of Spencer later on in the show. We both really, really loved it.
Oh, good.
So that was a fun conversation. One more quick happy note thing, then we'll go on to COVID stuff. We've got a lot of celebrity COVID news for you. There's a Stranger Things store opening. There's one in New York, one in LA. They open on Saturday, November 6th. And the New York one's in Times Square. The LA one is at Americana Brand in Glendale.
Of course it is.
And it's not really like the Stranger Things experience, but it is interactive stuff like video games and lockers, like you're at Hawkins High School, but also of course you can buy stuff.
I was just saying, is it just show merch, t-shirts and stuff? Okay.
Yeah, but also you can immerse yourself in the world of Hawkins. And if you don't, the Demogorgon will come and get you.
Can you get what's the ice cream thing they had last time?
Scoops Ahoy.
Yes.
That's a good question. That's a good question. Nick and I made the schlep to the Scoops Ahoy store. That was really fun. Okay, I've got a ton of COVID celebrity news. So many people have tested positive this past week. Most notably, Aaron Rodgers. You know who he is, Alonso?
Vaguely.
Shailene Woodley's fiance, but also the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. And he's been very coy about his vaccination status. And he asked the NFL for permission to get some kind of alternative treatment so that he would not have to get the vaccine. And he is tested positive, but he's still being kind of a jerk about, being straightforward. He's got coworkers, and they're in close quarters.
Yes. Jerk.
There's that. John Bon Jovi and Bryan Adams both also tested positive.
I heard about Bryan Adams, who apparently had been crabby about COVID in the past. I did not know about John Bon Jovi. I was so sorry to hear that.
Both vaccinated, both canceled concerts.
Okay.
Eric Garcetti, LA Mayor Eric Garcetti, and Jen Psaki, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, both tested positive, both vaccinated. Christy Swanson, vaccine skeptic and Fauci critic, Christy Swanson is now saying, please pray for me. I'm in the hospital with COVID.
Do you follow any of the sort of vaccine schadenfreude websites?
No, but that's a really good use of the internet.
There's one called Sorry Anti-Vaxxers, and there's a lengthy Reddit thread about this stuff. Okay. And it's they've boiled it down to sort of 4 stages for anti-vax people. One is post a ton of misinformation and memes and shit talking about Fauci and stuff. Then comes the I'm in the hospital, pray for me. Calling all my prayer warriors. I really need you to blah 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 blah. Phase 3, sadly, is often relative hopping onto their social media to announce that this person has passed away. And then step 4 is invariably, and here's the GoFundMe for burial expenses. You would be amazed at how often this chain of events occurs. I wish all these folks a speedy recovery, even Christy Swanson. And I hope that maybe she learns a little something from this experience, although I'm not holding my breath. And, I think it's important to note for people who are see, if you get vaccinated, you get anyway. Blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. If you get vaccinated and you contract COVID, your odds of dying are much, much smaller. That's why you get vaccinated. It's not a magic shield for everything, but it will definitely give you much greater odds at staying alive, which unvaxxed people are not at the moment. If they get it hard, and they get it bad, and they get it terminal. So let's get it together, America.
I think even if you're an athlete at the elite level of somebody like Aaron Rodgers, who theoretically is in, peak physical condition, you still just don't know what it's going to do to you. So there's that. Also, Ice Cube is not vaccinated and has left the Jack Black comedy titled "Oh Hell No" because he wouldn't get vaccinated, and he walked away from a $9 million paycheck.
Yeah. Well, look, good on the studio for sticking to their guns, because if Mr. Cube wants to assert his right of freedom of not getting vaccinated, I think there should be consequences from employers who say, this is our policy, this is how we want to do it now. And if it's a thing where, like, all the grips had to get vaccinated but the star doesn't, that would be bullshit. But if the star is told adios, or is told oh hell no if he doesn't get vaccinated, then that's at least an equitable system.
Whenever I see oh hell no, I think it looks like a Saturday Night Live skit. Like it's some game show that Keenan hosts, or like it's a category on Black Jeopardy. I'll take oh hell no for 1,000. So that cracks me up. But then there's some good COVID news. So in LA County, starting now, if you go to a bar, restaurant, brewery, indoors, you've got to show a vaccination card. Right? Theaters too at this point. You've got to show your vaccination card.
Yeah.
So that is encouraging. And then nationwide, kids 5 to 11 can now get the vaccine. And so appointments have all been getting snapped up. Nicholas turned 12 recently. And so I took him to get the vaccine, like the big boy dose, the 30 milligrams, because he's my height now. He's 5 feet and 3/4 of an inch. We found out at the doctors.
Zoinks.
So he's my height. He's a grown ass person. So he got the full vaccine. And then his arm was very, very sore, and he was tired the next day. So kept him home from school the next day. But better to do that for one day than for many. So there is some good news on the horizon. Of course, that's going to be an extremely divisive thing. School districts nationwide, a lot of parents are very, very emotional about this topic, but I feel fortunate that there is the opportunity to get little kids vaccinated now.
Yeah. And again, like, it's not like schools haven't been requiring vaccinations for years.
Right.
For things like, mumps and rubella and polio. So I don't know why suddenly this one has to be different because, they said so on YouTube. No offense to YouTube if you're watching us on YouTube.
Hi, YouTube. How's it going? So that is what I have for you for news.
All righty. Golly. Well, that is a very mixed bag, but thank you for that. Thanks everybody for watching. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us at BeFastAllDay on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. You get to see ads like this without any commercial interruption. Again, sorry, YouTube. You get, of course, our TV recaps. We are winding into the last couple of episodes of the morning show, but we've got The Great and Hawkeye coming up real soon, so that's going to be fun to talk about. And once a month, of course, our Off the Menu segment, where our subscribers choose a film that we've never discussed on the show before to review, and we do it because they said so, and then they get to watch it. So become one of them. Subscribe at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. Have a good week. Take care of yourselves and each other. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.